police
hard to
officer.
say.
I've been retired for 2 weeks, but I'll be going back to work in
Pretty
probably
recent.
another month. About 3 more weeks, I'll probably be going back to work back in law enforcement in another agency. I've been in this community most of my life, and I want to talk to you about a program we started through Crosspoint Church, and something I've been doing for the last 3 years. And Sharon had seen what we've been doing and asked, is there something we could help with? And just so happened, something came forth. A little bit about myself. I grew up here. My dad was Henry Gilbert. He was director of the 911 Center. For a long time, he was news director at WHEE. I am a 2-time cancer survivor. Probably shouldn't even be here. The last cancer I had, I was given a 15% chance of surviving. And here I am 20 years later. So I feel like I owe somebody something, so I try to do good things to help pay it back. So that's kind of one of the things that kind of drives me with this. But I want to tell you why I started this, because that's really what's kind of important. My job at the police department for the most of my career was to work the really bad cases. I was the lieutenant over criminal investigations, so whenever you saw something in the paper, I was there. I worked the murders, the rapes, the robberies, the really large financial crimes, and all the really bad stuff. That's what my unit did. And so several years ago, I was working a child molestation case. A little 9-year-old girl we got an anonymous call that this little girl was being molested by her father. And so I went to the school and talked to her, and long story short, it was pretty obvious to me it was going on, but she would not tell on her dad. We could not get any evidence from her. It was obvious she was either protecting him or she just wouldn't give it up. So we fast forward 3 years later, 3 years later, I get a call of a possible molestation. I need to go to the middle school to talk to the guidance counselor, and a little girl who's possibly been molested. So as I go in, lo and behold, who is it? It's the same little girl. Well, now she's 12, and she's old enough to where she doesn't want to do it anymore. She's tired of her dad and what's been going on. And to make a long story short, her father had been molesting her for years. The father was letting her younger brother, who was the same age, molest her. He was letting other men come in and molest her, and she finally just couldn't take it anymore. And so, long story short, we prosecuted that case, and he got the longest sentence of anybody in the history of Martinsville. He got life plus 88 years. And while I was there, this is where the light bulb went off for what I'm doing. I walked out of the interview with her, and I walked outside to talk to the guidance counselor. And she said that the little boy had come to school that day, and his shoes were so bad that the principal, who was a female, actually gave the little boy her shoes so he would have shoes to wear. So, those two events kind of collided with me. I'm like, I'm looking at this little girl, I'm looking at this, just the worst of the worst is happening here in front of me, and I'm very empathetic. So, I got home that night, and I said, we can do better than that. I have enough friends in this area that I know that if I said, hey, I know a kid needs a pair of shoes, they'd buy them. And that's kind of how it started. And so I called a friend of mine, and I said, look, I really want to do something. I think there's a need here in the schools. And, this isn't the first time I'd heard something like that. And I said, what do you think? And he goes, yeah. He said, I'll give you some money. We'll start it off. And so that night, I'm not sure if you've heard of GoFundMe. I thought, well, I'll start a GoFundMe account. What the heck, just see what happens. And so I started a GoFundMe account that night, and within a couple of days, I had about $1,300 in it. So I'm like, it's a good start. And it has grown. And since that time, I've raised about $35,000, and every bit of it has gone straight back into the schools to pay for things like shoes, clothes, beds. We did a complete makeover of that little girl's room. That got raped. We went in and painted her entire room. We took away the beds. We got brand new Bassett Furniture, gave me an entire new bedroom suit. We bought new mattresses. We wanted to take away her memory of that room and completely get rid of it. So that's what we did. And this past week, I've probably bought 6 pairs of shoes this week for kids. I've taken garbage bags of clothes to the elementary schools. And what I do is I'll work through referrals directly from the teachers or the staff. They call me and they say, hey, look, I've got a kid that has a certain need, and The way I operate is I have a Facebook page with Cops, Kids, and Clothes, and I post that need up there, you know. And so if I have a kid that needs a size 9 shoe, it's a boy, I'll say, I have a middle school kid that needs a size 9 shoe. If you'd like to help out, let me know. And usually what happens is somebody in the community will step up and say, hey, I want to do it. And so, you know, we've kind of, what I'm trying to do is kind of lead the community into helping, not just me doing all of it. And so, but if someone doesn't say I'll do it, then the next day I'm going to go buy it, you know. And I have a couple of really generous donors that have no problem slipping me a few $1,000s whenever I need it. And matter of fact, he called me the other night and said, how you doing on money? I said, I'm okay right now. So just hold off. There'll be a time when I'll need some. And but we have been generating income without any fundraisers, without asking anybody for money, and the money just comes. And it's like, you know, there have been a couple of times I've gotten down to like $500 or $600 and thinking, okay, this thing's going to end. And the next thing I know, I have a check for $5,000 in my mailbox, you know, and it gets right back on track. So, you know, I think the Lord really has His hand on what we're doing. And even though I retired, I was kind of, okay, well, how am I going to continue doing this? You know, because I think being a police officer has helped me, and people have trusted me with their money. Because it'd be very easy, quite frankly, to take that money and do whatever I want with it, you know, because there's no oversight. But I keep very detailed records. I keep receipts of every penny I spend, and I have a accounting method that I have so that anybody ever wants to see it, if they ever question, I've got it. So 100% of everything that I take in goes directly back to a child. I don't have any expenses. I don't, you know, if I'm out driving all day long, going from school to school, I don't reimburse myself for gas or any of that kind of stuff. We don't have any overhead. It's just strictly the kind of things that, you know, people that want to help do. We're not making this a charity where we fill our own needs. This is straight for helping kids. What Sharon asked me was, you know, what can we do? You know, and I have lots of churches that contact me and ask the same question: what can we do? One of the last churches I went to, I said, well, I'll tell you something I've been wanting to do. And when I was working as a patrol officer, one of the things that used to bother me was I'd be riding around in the morning time when kids would be on the school bus, getting ready for the school bus, and it would be pouring down rain, and none of the kids have umbrellas. And I said, I would really like to collect a lot of umbrellas, so the next time I'm out and it's raining, I could go to those bus stops and hand out umbrellas to those kids. Sure enough, they gave me a trunk load of umbrellas. So, you know, and as luck would have it, don't call it luck, the next week I was working the state basketball championship parade at Martinsville, and it was raining like crazy that day. So we had a whole street of kids that I was able to, you know, pull them out of my police car and just hand them out for people. And some of the kids just thought that was just the greatest thing in the world to have an umbrella. But, you know, what we do is we just try to take care of kids that are in dire poverty and that are having struggles. And a lot of them don't even know where it's coming from. They think we work through the teachers mostly. You know, occasionally I will be in the school. We had a kid the other day, and believe it or not, I posted on Facebook so people believe it. I had a kid who wears a size 19 shoe. Okay, now I wear a size 10. Okay, and this is no exaggeration. A size 19 is a double. It was like this. The shoe was that big. I put my foot out to photograph it and post it on Facebook. But you can't find size 19 shoes. I'm just going to tell you. You're not going to walk in any store anywhere around here to find them. So I had to special order them. And you know, we ended up buying him 3 pairs because the boy is huge, and I knew he'd wear them out pretty quick. So we got him 3 pairs of size 19 shoes. And but I noticed when I was in the school watching him, I'm like, his shoes were just terribly ratty. And, you know, a lot of the times the teachers, you know, they don't think about that. They're thinking about, what am I going to teach them today? And they don't think about the little things like, well, that kid doesn't have a coat in the wintertime, or that kid doesn't have shoes. But shoes are probably one of our biggest items that we tend to buy. Last year, the first 40 days of school at Martinsville High School, I spent about $1,400 in shoes, just shoes, at Martinsville High School. I mean, so there's a huge need, but shoes are also very expensive. You know, I usually go to the place where, I want to say Shoe Show, but it's not a shoe show, I can't remember now. But you get 1 pair regular, 1 pair half off. So I usually go do that so I get the second pair half off. And it's still going to run me around $80, you know, usually. So they're very expensive. It's not like you can go buy a whole lot. But what I want to do with this, if you all want to do this, is these backpacks were donated to me. The school has a backpack program, and that is for kids that don't have a lot of food, and they take this stuff home on the weekends. So, kind of what I wanted to do was kind of do a dual purpose, because one thing, there are kids that need backpacks. Second, there are kids that need food, and thirdly, there are kids that need things like school supplies. So if you choose to do that, or if you want to do this, what I would like for you to do is take it upon yourselves to fill these backpacks with those kind of items, with needs items like paper, pencils, crayons, markers, food items that that won't perish quickly. Anything you can think of: toothpaste, toothbrushes, soaps. We do a lot of hygiene products. In fact, I took a whole case of shampoo over to the high school last week, because the kids will come into the school nurse, and the school nurse will go, "When's the last time you washed your hair?" And so they'll take them to my closet that we have over there, and they'll give them a backpack full of hygiene products that we take in. We've taken in soap and all kinds of things, and body washes and scrubs and all that kind of stuff. So we've started clothes closets at each of the schools. So each school right now has an active clothes closet, and they use them. I had a friend of mine that owned a dress shop, and he closed it. And he called me one day and he said, "Look, I've got all these dresses. If you want them." I'm like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" And I went and got them. And I took them home, and of course I have a wife and daughter. I said, "Take a look at them." And they were like, "Ooh, those are bad. Those are really, really bad." She goes, "Nobody's going to take those." And I said, "Well, okay, whatever." So I said, I'm going to take them over there. So I took them to the school, and just so happened we had a family that had a house fire, and it was 3 girls in there. And so they took them into the clothes closet. They took every one of those dresses and told the school nurse and the teacher it was one of the best days of their life. And from those dresses that we saw, no value in. So you'd be surprised what value people put into certain things, and when you have nothing, they certainly appreciate it. So that's what I would like for you to do. And if you want to take donations to do it, that's fine. If you want to, I'll be more than happy to help fund the items that go in. I told her I'll be glad to give you a few $100s to go, so you could go buy things. However you all want to do it. If you want to do it as a church, as a group, it doesn't make any difference to me. What I want to do is eventually take these back and split them up. Half go to one elementary school, half go to another elementary school, and that way the teachers will be able to identify those kids and say, "Okay, look, you take this home this weekend."
The hospital does backpack.
So it was great.
And yeah, I'm contributing to that. Do you only do the city schools?
That's what I was going to ask.
Well,
I
I would say 95%. Okay, and the reason I only do city, I don't want to say I only do cities, because I do help out county, and I've also helped out Patrick County a couple of times, is that I don't have enough funding to do both school systems. I have friends that are teachers in county schools, and they know what I do. In fact, one messaged me last night, and I am not going to turn them down. I will find a way. I just can't. I can't advertise it, because the county has 10 times more kids than the city does. But there are. As a matter of fact, I've probably gotten as many county school referrals recently as city schools. We had so much turnover in the city schools last year. We had like 60 teachers leave. And so a lot of them don't know what I do yet. And so normally what I do is at the beginning of the school years, I go to the faculty meetings and I say, "Hey, look, this is what I do." And this year I've been very busy and I haven't been able to get to the faculty meetings. So once I get back to the faculty meeting, because January is always a really big month for me, because I have a lot of needs for coats and socks, and I always adopt a couple classrooms in elementary schools, and I'll just pick one. And I buy gloves for every student. I buy hats for every student. I do coat checks for everybody in this class. So I will just pick a teacher and say, "You win." And so I go to the classroom and I count how many boys and girls. I buy them all gloves, all hats, and we do coat checks. And anybody needs a coat, I go immediately. I'll go down to Walmart or Kmart or wherever, and we buy the coats that day. I don't ever let a referral go more than 24 hours. If someone calls me tonight and says, I got a kid needs shoes, tomorrow, before he leaves school, he will have shoes tomorrow. Unless there's some reason I'm out of country, but, you know, if they need them, they need them now. So, and I've got, you know, I am well funded right now, and I've got a lot of money sitting in that bank that I don't like it sitting, you know, I like it moving. And so this was just something else that we wanted to get things moving with, because everything we do, we post it on Facebook so people know where their money's going. The one thing that I personally have a problem with charity, is that a lot of charities you give money to, you have no clue where it goes. And so, I have a problem with that. You know, it's easy to write a check for somebody, but what's it doing? So, you know, when someone donates to me, I usually try to let them know, okay, well, your money is directly going towards funding a backpack program. So this is where I'm going to earmark your money for. Or, you know, or they see what we're doing. They see that, okay, this week we bought 5 pairs of shoes. This week we did this. I want people to see where the money's going, because that's what has been able to sustain what we're doing without fundraisers, without asking for money. I haven't done any more GoFundMe. I haven't asked anybody for anything. You know, it's people now are coming to me saying, hey, what can we do? And so that's the beauty of what we're doing. I don't have to sell it. I don't even try to sell it. It's just good works. And so anybody that wants to help, you know, we're certainly not going to turn them down. We're going to let them enjoy in the gift of giving. And you know, I'll tell you this one little story. I had a boy, size 18 shoe, high school boy. His name was Kelby.